You're not going to believe the stories coming out of Paradise today. I've got 3 cracking bits of news for you. First up, Andy Walker spilling what his own Celtic family and mates are saying about Luke McCowan. Then Brendan Rodgers handing out massive praise to a boy who's been superb this season. And finally, the big one, a bombshell that could pile serious pressure on one of our own stars. Stick with me right through to the end. Massive thanks to you for helping us smash 1,000 subscribers, but that's just the start. With more than 2,000 views on every story, if you hit subscribe right now, we'll fly past 1,500 subscribers, all backing the Celtic. Let's prove once again that our support is miles beyond anything the Rangers could ever muster. We have 6 news a day to keep you updated with the mighty Celtic. Hit that subscribe button and be part of it. I'll tell you what, seeing Luke McCowan finally get a proper start for Celtic at the weekend put a wee smile on my face, and I'm not the only one. Even Andy Walker, the same Andy Walker who never shuts up about Celtic, admitted that his own family and pals were buzzing to see McCowan in the lineup against Hibs. And can you blame them? The lad usually gets chucked on for 20 minutes here, half an hour there, and that's not enough for a player who's desperate to show what he can do in the hoops. It reminded me a bit of Paulo Bernardo. You know there's quality there. You can see it when he's on the ball, but you're just waiting for the gaffer to give him a proper run of games instead of the odd cameo. Against Hibs, McCowan finally had 70-odd minutes to get stuck in. And while it wasn't the dream performance, no goals, no match-winning moment, he still put in a shift. 50 passes, 2 key ones that opened things up, and nearly 85% accuracy. Not bad at all for a guy who's been starved of minutes. Now, his who scored rating was a modest 6.5, but ratings don't tell the whole story, do they? It's about sharpness, it's about confidence, and that only comes with playing time. Let's be honest, mate, you can't expect McCowan to come in cold and look like Henrik on a European night after sitting on the bench half the season. What he needs is rhythm, and the Europa League clash with Braga coming up is exactly the kind of stage that could light a fire under him if Brendan gives him the nod again. And I'll say this as well, while we're talking about giving players chances, isn't it mad how the Rangers lot across the city will cry about having no depth when one injury hits them, while we've got lads like McCowan waiting in the wings, itching to make their mark? That's the difference between Paradise and Ibrox. At Celtic Park, even the fringe boys can step in and show they belong. But here's the question I'd throw to you. Should Brendan Rodgers keep rolling with McCowan and give him more starts, even if it means dropping one of the so-called bigger names? Or is he just going to be stuck as an impact sub while the same old faces get the nod every week? Hit that subscribe button, lads. Let's guy it loldy till we hit a 1,500 mad Celtic daffs. You know something? I love it when a Celtic player proves folk wrong, and Liam Scales is doing just that this season. The big man's had his fair share of doubters, folks saying he's nothing more than a stopgap, not composed enough on the ball, can't cut it against proper European opposition. But here we are, 11 games in with him starting, and we've only conceded 3 goals in that run. 3, that's not luck, that's solid graft at the back. Brendan Rodgers has been singing his praises too, calling him superb and saying he trusts him every single week, Neju. And let's be real, that trust isn't handed out lightly at Paradise. We've had injuries piling up, with Alistair Johnston and Austin Trusty missing, and Scales has stepped right in. No fuss, no drama, just pure consistency. His positional awareness has been spot on, his aerial strength is there for all to see, and he looks like a man who's finally growing into that green and white jersey. It's funny, isn't it? Some folk still can't quite bring themselves to give him full credit. Maybe because he wasn't the flashy signing, maybe because he doesn't come with the hype of a big transfer fee, but at the end of the day, when you're standing in the heart of defense under the lights at Celtic Park on a European night. It doesn't matter how much you cost, it matters if you deliver. And right now, Scales is delivering. And you've got to laugh, mate, because over at Ibrox, they'd kill for a centre-half, putting in performances like this without the price tag of a small country. But here at Paradise, we've got Scales stepping up and silencing critics, while the Blues are still moaning about VAR and conspiracies. Same old story. So here's what I want to ask you. Do you think Liam Scales has finally proved he's good enough to be a long-term starter for Celtic? Or are you still not fully convinced and want to see him tested against the very best before making that call? Hit that subscribe button. Lads, let's guy it. Let's loady till we hit 1,500 mad Celtic daffs. Here's the thing about Daizen Maeda. He's a workhorse, a lad who will run himself into the ground for the jersey, and nobody in their right mind could ever question his effort. But now with that bombshell about wanting to leave, he's gone and made life harder for himself than it needed to be. Ross McCormack's right in one sense. He's just piled unnecessary pressure on his own shoulders. Because let's be honest, the minute he has an off game, folk will be quick to throw it back at him. Aye, you wanted out, didn't you? And it's daft, because you and I both know his character. You've seen him. He's the first to press, the first to track back, never shirks a shift. Gordon Dalziel said the same. Maeda's not the type to down tools, but in football, perception matters. If you tell the world you wanted away from Paradise and then your form dips, the whispers start. And in Glasgow, whispers turn into storms quicker than the rain on Sucky Hall Street. His numbers this season aren't shocking, but they're not electric either. 11 games, 2 goals, 2 assists, and he's been shuffled about 3 different positions. That doesn't help him at all. Against Hibs, he was shoved out wide right, with Iheanacho through the middle and Tunekti on the left. That's not where Maeda's at his best, and it shows. But Brendan's got to make use of what he's got after that car crash of a summer window, so Maeda has to adapt. And look, let's be real here. If this was across the city, if one of their players piped up about wanting to leave, the Ibrox crowd would be booing him before he even touched the ball. At least at Celtic, the support's got a bit more heart, a bit more patience. But patience isn't endless, and if he doesn't find his rhythm soon, he's going to get stick he probably doesn't deserve. So here's what I want to know from you. Do you still back Maeda to play a key role for Celtic this season? Or has that admission about wanting to leave changed the way you see him in the hoops? Hit that subscribe button, lads. Let's jay it loldy till we hit 1,500 mad Celtic dafts.